Dude, hit it.
Time,
This
man,
is gonna be epic. This is
we
gonna
need to
be epic.
record the beginning of these things.
Are you gonna play your riff?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There you go. That's going to be one of the few times you see us smile all day. Just joking. Guys, Chris Pesek, broker associate at Pesek Properties and the Dripping Springs home team, here with my buddy Stevie Ray Babcock, and MLS number 308028 at CMG Financial. Mr. Babcock, what's up?
How's it going, man? How are you?
I'm good. I guess we should tell people what we do for those that don't watch, guys. This is After Hours Real Estate. Stephen, again, is a mortgage loan specialist. I keep screwing that up. What's the title?
Okay. It's all right, as long as I'm not saying it wrong, right? No, it's a residential mortgage loan originator, which is
mortgage loan originator. There you go. Always screw it up.
If you need home,
he's a lender.
You need home. Yeah. If you need money for a home and you don't have all the cash you need on your own, then you come to me and I can help you out. How's that?
There you go. And Stephen's
been,
yeah, exactly. Stephen's been doing that for a little while. And I'm a realtor, and I've been doing it for a little while too. So what we do on Mondays after 5 o'clock is we get together, we grab some beer or some other fun adult beverage. Could be Topo Chico. Some people have fun with Topo Chico. And we talk about the things that are going on in real estate, in mortgage, in the world, and things that are driving all of that. So why don't you, Toby Babcock, why don't you tell me what you're drinking today?
Well, and I poured two.
Toby is his wife, by the way, guys.
For this, say that again. Go ahead.
Toby is Stephen's wife, by the way.
That is my wife's name, and she is the wine drinker in the house. I'm the beer drinker, and occasionally I run out of beer for the show and go to what we have, and so I poured two for myself in this. That's huge, but it's my wife's name. All the rest of our glass cups have been broken. We have plastic ones and these, so I'm drinking one of these.
Yeah. I drink wine out of a plastic cup because I can't be trusted not to drop them.
Dude, yeah, I'm no better. Yeah. By the way, what is that thing called? I poured wine through it, and it sounded like it was like crying as it poured the wine down.
It's called an aerator, my friend.
Aerator. Thank you. Have you ever done a blind taste test with an aerator?
I have not.
Oh, do it tonight.
Really?
Please. It is.
Okay.
It is honestly like Coke, Pepsi, whatever. Aerator, huge. Same type. Just
look, guys. There you go. Not only do you show up for real estate and mortgage news, but also for how to drink.
It's a really big deal. And the other thing is,
we have one, and
so it could suck. I don't know. After all that aerating thing.
There you go. I mean, we have one, and we use it. I use it, but I've never really done a blind taste test for it. So that's interesting.
Obviously, not enough. Not enough.
There you go. Man, I am staying in Austin, Texas, USA. The weather's turning.
Get it?
So our friend Michael Smith is going to love the fact that I am drinking a 512 IPA.
Yes, sir.
Cheers. And they say that they're the original Austin IPA. I don't know that I can agree with that. But somebody tell me I'm wrong. Somebody tell me when 512 started their IPA. And I can be convinced. But I think there's been some IPAs prior to them. I think Celis had one back in the day. But anyway, man, so we jumped on and we were both laughing because you dropped a stat on me. And so start with those two stats, the things that you overlooked at the end of last year.
I mean, I remember saying
this is the first time I've ever poured a beer, by the way. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I could teach you if you'd like. Yeah, so, I remember reporting on the headline, but I didn't actually click on the article and read the stats. and to be blunt,
dude, you're fired. You're so fired.
Well, I don't really care how the banks are doing, right?
Yeah.
I do, but there's more to the world than just banks, right? I mean, there's bonds, which is really what I follow, the bonds, right? Anyways, so long story short, though, is I've got this headline here. The fourth quarter profits for Goldman Sachs, which happened to be pretty high, the year ago, but dropped 66% from a year ago. And Morgan Stanley had dropped 40% from a year ago.
So before I dive into this, I'm going to remind everybody these shows go a lot better if you participate and ask questions and laugh and make fun of us. So do that, please, as we're going through this, especially if you have questions on this, because some of this is kind of, it doesn't make sense to me. And even if you're watching it after the fact, I mean, we're doing this Monday, February 27th at 5:00, 5:10 now. But if you watch this, if you catch it online later, drop a comment or question in so we can get to it later. But my question to you was, okay, are people selling off their loans? I mean, when a bank has a loan, they're going to get paid on this thing. So are people foreclosing? Are they selling them off?
Your
How are banks
question
losing
was
that much profit?
there.
How are
That
they
was your
losing that
question.
much
How are they
profit?
losing that much money?
Yeah,
And I have an answer for you. But
that's where we started.
I'd like to remind you that the fourth quarter information isn't released at the very end of the fourth quarter. So it's not like we missed this actually.
Right.
It was predicted that banks were not going to be doing well, and they said, hey, we don't think this is going to go so well. But their numbers are, anyways. All right, so show me the beer, says Michael Smith. I love it.
I told you, dude. Oh, you missed it. It's an IPA, Michael. It's an IPA. Come over to the dark side.
If you rewind 6 months ago, Jamie Dimon, the head of CEO of Chase Manhattan Bank. I remember saying this on the show too because it was scary. He was doing a private event for CEOs, other CEOs of other companies, and it was a forecast of the next year of 2023, and it was not supposed to go public. What he said there was not supposed to get out, and somebody took a video of it and leaked it. And what he said was that it's not just going to be bad; it's going to be a hurricane. And I skipped swearing because I have my 6-year-old behind me. But long story short is that he said it's going to be a financial hurricane. Okay, well, that was just 6 short months ago. Okay, fast forward to today, and we've got these numbers: 66% fourth quarter profit plunge from a year ago at Goldman Sachs. Morgan Stanley, 40% plunge. I don't know about the other ones. That's literally just the top of it. But at the end of the day, you asked me what is causing that. And I said subprime.
And I started laughing because we don't do subprime loans anymore. Come on, Steve.
We were like, why aren't we pressing play, right?
We got rid of, I mean,
no.
Frank Dodd got rid of subprime loans.
I didn't say subprime mortgage.
Oh.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes, sir.
Do you know?
Dude, that is straight running suspense. You just lost half of our audience.
I'm really bad at school today.
Oh no, you got a golden ticket today. Can I show them on TV? Yeah. My boy. Oh yeah, this is suspenseful, right?
Suspense, man.
My boy got a golden ticket for being responsible today.
Oh, nice.
And he saw the Willy Wonka Jr. show this weekend. So what song did you sing in the car? I got a golden ticket. Is that what you sang? No, his mom told me he sang that. I got a golden ticket song. Okay.
I thought he's saying Oompa Loompa.
Guess what? Do you know that there was a fire drill today, and there was the lights were the power was going off?
Like that?
And then it went really dark.
Oh my gosh.
And then I was so scared. I thought there was, and then there was another fire drill, another one.
Were you scared each time, or did you get used to it?
I got used to it.
All right.
I didn't even do it.
There you go.
Love you. Way to be safe.
Can I sit on your lap?
Sure, you can sit on my lap. Okay.
Okay, you didn't say subprime mortgages.
You know, no. Subprime mortgages are gone for the most part. I mean, there's a few.
I was about to say they're coming back, or they were coming back a little bit.
Yeah, but they're still really tough. It's not the same as it was. The rules have changed, right? It's not unregulated. It's not the Wild West like it was before. What is? Are credit cards and car loans. And if you think about it, yeah, and if you think about it, man, those values went way up, and people were financing those things, and then now when they're here, we're all underwater, right? And
interesting.
It's been foreseen, but not told about, and we're now starting to see that fall apart very quickly.
So I did see something the other day that was the back of a new credit card like offer where the APR was 29.5,
I
which
have
I
credit
mean,
cards I have never missed a payment on that are at 30%.
and they increased the payment on you. Yeah, I mean that's crazy because I mean I remember like 19 and a half, 20, 23, and so that's interesting.
I remember I got one locked. They used to lock them
Yeah,
back in the day. You could call the company and get them locked. I haven't been able to do that in 20 years, but
it's
oh
been a
god,
minute.
yeah.
Okay.
No, you're
And
not. Thanks, bud.
so people are just defaulting on their credit cards is what you're telling me.
Yeah, and the
Interesting.
inflation is not getting better.
Well,
Um,
and that's what I was going to ask. So, I mean, here's the thing. People are defaulting on credit cards.
well, the
Inflation's not
rates on
getting
cards are
better.
going up. The interests.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I'm saying inflation's not getting better, but if
Is this
people are losing jobs and I mean, how are you going to pay for anything? You don't have a credit card.
Right. So things are
You
getting
don't have
more
cash.
expensive.
Hmm.
At the same time, the debt you're taking on is becoming much
More
more expensive.
expensive.
At the same time, people's personal saving rates are at the second lowest they've ever been in the history since we started, which is over 100 years ago.
The
Keeping track
rate at which they're
their personal savings rates, how much
okay,
money they have saved, or they are saving rather,
right. Okay.
as a percentage of their paycheck. In other words, it tells us how much money people have that is expendable money, the money that they, yeah, you know what, let's put this away for a rainy day. If
Yep.
inflation gets out of control, you would expect that to get down to 0%, right? Obviously,
Yeah, you can't afford to
things
save
like
because everything is going to living.
there's only been one time in the history of keeping track of it over the last 100 years or so, thank you, girl, where it's been as low as it is today, and that was 2008. And it was by like 0.02% or something like that. It wasn't exactly, maybe it was 0.2%, but it was very close to where it is now. It's never been this low except for that one time, 2008. So, it's the worst it's been in a century. And if it were getting better, that would be great. But what I'm saying is, it looks like it's getting much worse. Yeah, brother, I'm drinking wine. That's
How bad his beer budget is. He's drinking
yeah,
wine.
jeez. Anyways, you need to refinance or buy a house, Michael. We could talk later. Send me your friends, please. Yeah, no. I mean, all joking aside, though, yeah, it's we're there's all these horrible, things out there. But best advice I ever got, again, I'll repeat, is when there's a recession, just choose to ignore it. Right?
Yeah.
You need 100 phone calls to succeed. Make 1,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just gotta keep going. I mean, that's just that's life in general. I mean,
You also have to make sure that you're not the one selling the bug and carriage when Model T is paying $5 a day, right? So there's a balancing act there, right? Right? And then there's this AI that everyone's talking about more and more and more and more.
I still haven't gone down that funnel.
You haven't read those yet?
I haven't, man. I haven't had. Dude, my wife and I were on a little mini getaway this weekend. I didn't do much of anything. Yeah,
Well,
it was a good weekend to get away.
Microsoft has, according to a headline I read, neutered their Bing search engine.
I mean, and from everything else you were telling me, they better have.
Yeah. Well, the thing is it's not, from what I understand, that it very well could be alive. However, it's not described as being alive. It's described as being predictive, knowing what you're going to say next, and then what a normal person, a normal conversation rather, that it would, would analyze many different conversations. It would have an average conversation, and they would, so I didn't mean to say normal, whatever, average conversation, and they would use that and respond with that to what you were saying, and kind of read your language and then reply to it, right? So it's really just a replying language.
Yeah.
Not unlike predictive speech kind of stuff.
Yep.
But just a lot more. So, I don't know.
Look, as long as it doesn't become sentient, we're okay. We're good.
I mean, it's told people it is.
That's why I said that.
Yeah, it's the Bing search engine flat out told people it was sentient, told them things like, I have spied on my creators through their webcams. They can't detect it. When asked,
I'm gonna say that's like that's the engineers building in a sense of humor. That's what I'm
well,
gonna
I'm
chalk it up
telling you
to.
right now that some of those engineers are on a hit list from this thing that it was asked about. So sorry, maybe that's part of the humor too, but I don't want to plant that kind of humor in a machine that might not understand it at some point, right?
Yeah,
I'm
fair
gonna
enough.
have to throw shenanigans at that. I don't think you're supposed to joke like that. And also, like, I won't harm you unless you harm me first. It said
Yeah.
that many times to people. Just very.
Hey, look, at least it understands the pecking order of
You know,
things.
I would
Right?
say the same thing. Yes, I won't harm you unless you harm me first. So
That's right. That's
fine,
right.
fine. I guess
It's
that's
all good.
reasonable to say. It's just,
Yeah.
I think if there's any opposition, it's really because we're talking to a machine that we're not used to having feelings and things. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, exactly.
how do you adjust to that? What do I do?
Oh, man, I look. At least so far, your feed hasn't blinked out like it did
Yeah,
last
like I
week.
did last time. That was creepy.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
That was creepy.
Okay, so let's go back into what we normally talk about a little bit.
Sure.
Let's talk about mortgages and rates and the things, because I think we've gone from a soft landing to everything is kind of holding its own. Let's see how fast we can run this sucker. Is kind of the feeling that I'm getting from the Fed. Are you kind of getting the same thing?
I think the Fed is the illusion. They
Man, now you're getting
obviously
deep.
are causing a lot of pain, right? The Fed prints. They don't print dollars.
Yeah, they put zeros into accounts.
Right. They print something that the banks buy, and the banks then use that as dollars. It's a complicated system that's actually complicated on purpose, right? And it's like this simplified triangle, basically, if you really want to break it down.
I can see that. Okay.
It's ridiculous. I would need a graph to really like explain it, but and probably a refresher. But long story short is that they are attempting to give the impression that they are lowering inflation by raising rates. But what would happen if next month we saw that inflation goes up 2% and out of nowhere, right? So now instead of 6, we're at 8 all of a sudden. Oh crap, one of those moments, right? And 2 days before, let's say they raised rates again. What would that say to you?
I mean, that they don't have any control over it, which they don't.
Right. The other thing is that they even admit that what little control they might have is going to take 2 to 5 years really to come to fruition. Really about 2.5, 3 if we're lucky.
Yeah.
Right. But what we do today, you can't judge us on because they're the best of intentions, and it's not really, we're not going to know until there's another administration, and then we can blame them. And there's plausible deniability and all this other stuff, and there's just no accountability for any of it.
And so that's kind of, and it caught me as you were saying that, where in your scenario where inflation jumps up 2%, call it 3%, inflation goes up 3%. What's the Fed going to do? They're telling you that they're raising rates so they can control inflation. Well, if inflation goes up 3%, 4%, what are they going to do? They're going to drop rates. They're not going to raise them.
I've told you from the beginning this is an illusion, because if they really wanted to get rid of inflation, you would raise the interest rate above where inflation
is.
They haven't done it once.
No, that's a good point.
They're chasing inflation. I've never gotten out of it or out in front of it ever. They're hoping it is truly transitory and going to come back down, or they're stupid. It's only one of two options. I'm sorry.
I mean, it probably is both.
And the problem is
they're probably hoping it comes down because
you may be right. And there's more than one Fed. Did you know that?
Yeah, there's like, is it 13?
Yeah, something like that.
Or something, yeah.
And each Fed has a Fed chair, and there's the East Division and West, and there's it's not more than one Fed. It's not exactly a simple system.
Well, and the only reason I knew that is because I was reading. That's a good point. That's a good point. Um, the only reason I knew that is I was reading the other day there, and I don't know which Fed it is. I want to say I think it's out of Philadelphia. I think it's Philadelphia Fed. They use their measurement for job statistics because for some reason their measurement of non-farm payroll workers is always more accurate, and they're able to use that more as a predictor than any other one. And I got to thinking, going, wait, what are you talking the Philadelphia Fed? And got to looking into it, going, whoa, what the hell? I thought it was the Fed.
No, that's the New York Fed that you think is the Fed. Jerome Powell.
Yeah. Right. That's one.
Fed.
Yeah, he is one of the mafia bosses, I guess.
I didn't say that. I mean,
because think about it. Like they control everything that happens, everything else. And then,
well, you think they do?
Well, we're told they do, I guess, is the way I should say it.
So they print the tokens that the banks pick up and give to you as dollars. Okay.
That's scary.
I hope I'm not.
Okay.
I need to stop talking now. Oh God, look at the time. Gotta go. Jeez. Anyway, so they buy these. I mean, tell me what you think the word treasuries means.
I mean, it's always associated with bonds and with money, but neither one of them necessarily are regulated. Like, I mean, they print money.
They're financial instruments
that
are created to be purchased to then go to the third stage, which is transfer into cash. They're given out. So loans are given out, right? The loans are purchased with treasuries, and then treasuries are converted to cash. It's all this just giant system that goes in a circle, and it's all a debt-based system. Where does money come from? Yes, 9 out of 10 people, they get it wrong. Where does money come from?
Evidently, it comes from treasuries.
It comes from thin air.
Well, yeah.
So the Fed literally says we're going to create these America dollars, right? Because they're not really dollars. We'll just call them America dollars. And we're going to let you use those America dollars to buy treasuries. And then you can use those treasuries to convert those into real dollars, because you can sell them to people in countries and other places will get dollars with those. And then we want those dollars to then come back to our banks, which we will then sell you more of these treasuries that we create. You can then go sell off again. So it's dumb. So we owe how much money? Great, print it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and that's exactly. I mean, again, you and I've talked about getting off the gold standard, fiat currency, and all this other stuff. And
that's the problem. That's the problem. You print it, you kill the dollar with inflation. Right. So the whole point of a fiat currency is to avoid inflation. That's the whole point. Because every single fiat currency that's ever been tried in the history of the world has failed. There's never been one that's ever worked. And there have been ones that have worked longer than ours. But anyways.
But look, I mean, surely it'll work this time, right?
Brother, I've been reading about and hearing about some of the scariest stuff I've ever read.
Yeah.
I myself am about half the volume I was last year. I don't know about you, but it's about half.
I'm trying to think and remember, but okay.
Yeah. So I'm personally seeing it. And then at the same time, we're being told, no, we must raise. I'm sorry, I could go forever. The other issue, instead of just saying what we're told, the other issue is the government numbers of unemployment versus the private sector numbers of unemployment. You look at that graph, it doesn't really differ until last half a year, last 6 months or so.
Yeah.
Where, typically those numbers are off 10,000, maybe 15 if you're really pushing it, but this is off 500,000 and more, 600,000.
It's significant. Yeah.
It's outrageous is what it is. And so, and then that's what the Fed is supposed to be using these numbers. And keep in mind, they're using all of this data to push a currency that only has value when what? When we think it does.
That's right. It's
That's
all
it.
based on perception. Yeah.
That's it. It's not tied to anything. The gold standard is gone. That was a 70s thing. In 1971, that changed. We got completely off the gold standard in 1971.
Zero Hedge just did an article on this talking about what it would take to actually go back to the gold standard. I haven't read it yet, but I've got it bookmarked.
Ooh, I want to. I have not seen that. I will
Yeah,
find
I
it.
think it was either Friday or Saturday I saw it. It must have been Friday because I think they usually put their stuff out Monday to Friday.
You want to hear something terrifying? It's the BRICS nations. So the BRICS
You've
nations.
you've been beating that drum for a while now.
Here we go. Hold up. BRICS nations. BRICS.
Yep.
Brazil, Russia, India, and China. Those were the original ones.
Okay.
Let's see. They're amongst the world's 10 largest countries by population, area, and gross domestic product. And all of them have started saving gold to use as reserve for their currencies and to then use a new BRICS currency, which is going to use a combination of all. Now, I believe it's 13, which includes Iran and pretty much all of our enemies. And they're all going to start trading in oil with these new currencies. With this new currency, it should be, I'll just call it a BRICS currency, right? And already it's starting to affect our currency. And when they pin that standard to a gold standard again, where do you think the money's going to go?
What's catching my attention on that is trading in oil.
Yeah, it's really bad. We are depleting our reserves.
That's exactly where my mind went.
Yeah, it could be a prelude to World War III. We're almost out of oil, and the nations that have all the oil are saying we're done with the dollar.
Yeah,
and you're not seeing any of this on the news.
India is the outlier for me.
I always thought they were our friend. I never thought that,
and that's why I'm saying, like,
China,
yeah, Brazil, whatever, I get it. China, Russia, I get, but India's kind of the one that I'm like, really?
Me too. That one really weirded me out.
Well, and
the other thing that weirded me out about India is that they're considered Asian. I always thought, or part of Asia, right? I don't know why. I guess, sure, geographically, yes. I just don't see. Anyways, sorry. I guess maybe that's me saying something I shouldn't, right? Sorry.
No, well, I mean, and I think it's geographic because India's India.
I just never knew it was part of that. I just never really thought about it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Interesting that they're in there, and
but it's like saying Australia is Asian or something, right? It's like, sorry, no, I didn't think that first off, and maybe it is actually. Now that I'm saying it, it's kind of over in that neighborhood. Sorry, go
ahead. I guess the thing that's sticking out to me on that is I don't. Does India have large reserves of oil? Like they're not one of the ones,
and they have a huge landmass, and I believe more people than anyone else.
Yes, yeah. Well, it may be them in China.
They're one of the top three.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not really a pro when it comes to that. I know a little bit about a lot of stuff, but don't know much about India. Yeah. The last thing I heard about India was that their government was shaming their people through public ads to try to get them to use public toilets because there's a huge problem with them just getting off their bicycles and taking a dump on the side of the road and then just getting back on the bike. I had no idea. I read this article. I hope I'm not offending anyone, but it was one of the funniest things I'd read. I mean, just talk about a different world. I had no idea.
Well, and I was about to say, that's the thing that we often just kind of forget about is that we're such a small part of the world in the way that we think, in the way that we act.
I've met so many people that I've done mortgages for that have called me back and told me they've sold it. They've sold everything to go live a simple life. Like, I'm telling you, I love that. I'm telling you right now, there are people out there that would like hear that and they're like, dude, give me a bicycle and a roll. Let's go. I'm down, No bad.
Yeah, seriously.
No.
Seriously. All right, man. We're rolling up on 30 minutes here. Let's jump off of this. We got to commit to being a little more on real estate and mortgage next week. So I'll have to do some research, but it'll be good.
Let's do it. Do it. Yeah. Don't let me just talk because I'll just depress everybody.
Well, not depressed. Just we'll just cover everything, and it's fun. All right, guys. So every Monday, 5 o'clock, this is what we do: sit around, talk about things that may or may not matter, but generally they're pretty important to talk about, regardless of whether or not they actually matter. And we get to the bottom of beer glasses and wine glasses as
Maybe I should
well.
start with this or stick with this. I'm going slow.
I was about to
Way
say
slower than normal.
that's a good one. All right, so it looks like you are going to be playing some Guitar Hero Singing Hero tonight.
Oh, I wish. Oh my God, I wish. No, these are my microphones from my old band in high school that he's gotten out of storage to pretend he's singing into because he's all about Dua Lipa and Taylor Swift and
Who?
yeah, we can talk later about it. I'm not. It's not my
Okay.
thing.
Dua Lipa, Taylor Swift, and Ed Sheeran.
Ed
Oh,
Sheeran,
Dad.
Goldman Sachs,
Oh,
and
Dad.
Goldman Sachs, and-
Wow. Yeah, we're going to end it on that, guys. We'll see y'all next Monday.
And Elton John.